What is up, Wolfpack Nation? It is Chris, your host, and I know I'm a couple days late, but we're gonna dive right into these conference championship games that took place on Sunday because obviously we got to react to it. Yeah, we got Chiefs, 49ers again in the Super Bowl coming up here in a couple weeks. Um, Obviously a rematch from what was it, Super Bowl 56, I think was the Super Bowl or 54, one of those two, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it's a rematch from the Super Bowl from the 2019 season. Um, Kansas City, I mean, completely shut down Baltimore. Like they, at every turn, Baltimore could not seem to get anything done on offense. Like the first, especially in the first half. Like the first half, Kansas City just completely tore up, shut down the Baltimore's defense. They, other than the touchdown that the Ravens had to tie the game, it was first drive 3 yards punt, second drive to 75 yards 6 play touchdown, third drive fumble, and then a punt, another punt, and then the end of the half. Like they had, if I'm counting this up correctly, three plus the 75 touchdown at 78, 86, 105, 111, 110 total yards in the first half for Baltimore. Um, Whereas Kansas City, on the other hand, first half had 81, 236 yards of total offense. Um, I mean it, and it was just the whole time just miscues by Baltimore. They had, like I said, they had a fumble in the first half. Then in the second half, they moved down the field. Looked like they were about to score, and then Say Flowers fumbles in the end zone. And then, of course, obviously, that rule that everybody says is dumb about fumbling in the end zone. The other team recovers, it gets a touchback. Of course, obviously, everybody was up in arms about that. But he fumbled in the end zone, cost Baltimore a touchdown that would have cut the lead down to three, presumably. And then they drive down the field again, and then Lamar throws an interception. I believe it was like double or triple coverage in the end zone. Just trying to do too much. Ended another long Baltimore drive. And then when the Ravens got a field goal, they cut it to a one-score game. Um, they have Kansas City's third down and long with a chance to force a stop, get the ball back, give Lamar one more chance to try to go down and score. And Roquan Smith gets a unnecessary roughness penalty to to advance the ball 15 yards and give Kansas City a first down. And then on another third down, they gave up a 32-yard completion from Mahomes to Valdez Scantling. I mean, it was just Kansas City's game. Kansas City has been here just so many times, and even though they didn't look good in the second half offensively, they did enough, and their defense proved to be the deciding factor again, which it has been all year. So, congrats to Kansas City. I mean, they've fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. Kelsey did his thing. He had 11 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he torches defenses in the postseason. That's just what he does. Um, and I mean, Kansas City has the experience. They advantage over Baltimore. They've been there before. It was a great season by Baltimore, and I know all the press is going to be talking about is Taylor Swift, which is again for 2 more weeks, which is going to be annoying. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Chiefs no matter what happens during the regular season, they get in the postseason and they prove that they're still the big dogs in the AFC, and they have been ever since 2019. It's like Mahomes is the new Brady, and Andy Reid's the new Bill Belichick, and that's just how it is. I mean, that's where we're at right now, and I know that comparison has been made, but I mean it's true. So Kansas City's in there again. Baltimore, look, you another great year with a disappointing end. Just like I believe 2019 was that same year, right? Where or was it 2020, the COVID year, where Baltimore had a great year and then got bounced in the first game by Tennessee. You know, Lamar's going to get plenty more chances, I believe, to get here in the future. I just, you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't their time. It's ironic too because Baltimore in the late 2000s, early 2010s was kind of like that tough team that Brady and Belichick had to face in the postseason. That was hard to get over. And now it seems like now there could potentially be like that again with Kansas City, where Baltimore is kind of that team that Kansas City's going to have to worry about. I know Buffalo's in there too, but you know, it's we'll see how it goes. But the biggest story of this game was they shut Lamar down. He had an interception, the fumble. Say Flowers had a fumble. The three turnovers is what really killed Baltimore because, like I said, they were all on. With the exception of the first fumble in the first half, the other two were on Kansas City's side of the field. So I mean, it is what it is. But anyways, moving on to the Lions at the 49ers. I mean, this I would argue was probably the better game of the two. And I mean, this is just heartbreak for Detroit, right? I mean, first half it was all Detroit, right? It looked like Detroit was gonna blow out San Francisco the way Philadelphia did last year, and obviously San Francisco Brock Purdy didn't get hurt this year like he did last year, but it looked that way, right? I mean, they were up 24-7 at halftime. I mean, they were completely the defense completely shut down San Francisco. San Francisco only had 130 yards of total offense at halftime. At that time, they had a missed field goal. They had an interception. Nothing was going right for San Francisco. Everything was going right for Detroit. I mean, even the drive that Detroit punted the ball, they got it on San Francisco's side of the field. But then here comes the second half, and all of a sudden it seems like, I mean, Dan Campbell wanted to stay on the gas. And sometimes when you stay on the gas and you go too hard, you flame out eventually, and that's what happened. And the Brock Purdy started doing Brock Purdy's thing. He even ran for 48 yards. He made some big plays with his legs in the second half. All of a sudden now, here we are. Field goal makes it 14-point game. Lions next drive go for it on downs, fourth down on San Francisco's side of the field. While they were in field goal range, could have made it back to 17-point game. Go for it, don't get it. What does San Francisco do? Turn right around, score a touchdown. Then Detroit gets the ball back, fumbles first play. San Francisco goes right back again, touchdown. And all of a sudden it's 24-24. And Detroit went from being arguably the best team in the NFC to doing what the Ravens were doing earlier in the day. And they were just making mental mistakes. And, part of that, the fumble's not on Dan Campbell. Going for it on fourth down in the third quarter and then again in the fourth quarter. When still only down 3. You could have kicked a field goal. I mean, it made no sense to me. And I know Dan Campbell likes to go for it on fourth down. He's done it all year. It's worked more times than not. But when you're in the biggest game the franchise has had in 30 years, and you're the closest you've been to going to a championship game, like the league championship game in, you know, 70 years or 60 years, however long it's been, you don't want to make mistakes like that. They mean more in this game than they do in week 11 or 18 or week 1. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just at the end of the day, it was Dan Campbell's fault. And it was a great game, too. Like, it was a close game. Like, the quarterbacks were pretty much even. Brock Purdy's QB rating was 89. Derek Goss was 88.8. So, I mean, they're practically the same. Um, Detroit, I mean, the yardage wise was the same. I think Detroit had like a 29-yard difference in total yards from San Francisco. Both teams ran the ball over. Detroit had 182 total yards. San Francisco 155. I mean, it was even. It was completely even. But at the end of the day, San Francisco made less mistakes than Detroit, and that's been the theme of this playoffs, right? The team that wins the game made less mistakes than the team that lost. That's been the theme of this whole postseason. And, Detroit, just like Baltimore, a great year. You won 2 postseason games. You got back to the conference championship game for the first time in 30 years. Over 30 years. But you're going up against a big dog who's been here before, who's won NFC Championship game in recent history, and you knocked them down early, but you ran out of gas. They came back in the late rounds and beat you on a decision. That's just the way it is, and I'm a Lions fan. I know you're disappointed, you're sad about the way the season ended, but it was a great year. You have a lot to look forward to. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens with Ben Johnson. He's doing an interview with the Commanders today, I believe, for the head coaching job there. He seems a lot of people have him as the favorite to be their head coach. I think Adam Schefter has did an interview on the Pat McAfee show, which I think we're going to react to, saying that he's not as big of a favorite to land the Commanders job as everybody thinks. But either way, he's still more than likely either going to be the Commanders head coach or the Seahawks head coach. And I think even Aaron Glenn is interviewing with the Commanders today as well. So it's we'll see what happens. But either way, it's a great season for both the Ravens and the Lions. It sucks to see them go out the way they did. But I'm excited. I really am. I think the Chiefs-Niners game is going to be good. I know they say don't doubt the Chiefs in the postseason. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the Niners right now. But once I dive more into the game, I'll make a full prediction on it. But right now, I'm leaning. My first prediction is going to be San Francisco. But it could easily be like the last Super Bowl these two teams played, where San Francisco's up for a good part of the game, and then Kansas City comes back. I can see that happening too. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people were saying it could have been Niners, Ravens because of the Super Bowl logo thing. It's not that. Unfortunately, good thing that script is not there no more. So, yeah. So that's it. That's what I thought about the conference championship games. Obviously, like and subscribe if you're a fan of this content. You liking the videos lets me know that y'all enjoy this type of content. And in that I could do more of that. So make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.